Welcome to Talking Our Values, where we talk with senior leaders and your colleagues about what it means to live SAIC's values. My name is Amy Rothman. I lead Enterprise Change Management here at SAIC. I am so glad you're joining us for our new podcast series. In each episode, we'll share examples of SAIC people who exemplify passion, inclusion, empowerment, innovation, and integrity. And we'll get practical advice about how to bring our values to life on behalf of our customers, our company, and our community. Today, we are talking passion with Bob Genter, President of the Defense and Civilian Sector, Simone Barron, a Business Development Senior Principal here at SAIC, Jim O'Keefe, a Program Manager for our work at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Cameron Spencer, a Program Manager for the Virginia Information Technology Agency, and Steve Rigdon, Vice President in the Naval Business Unit. He's our account manager for our undersea warfare and Navy training accounts. With that, I'm going to ask my first question. We've defined our value of passion as demonstrating deep passion for the success of our employees and customers' mission, and for results-driven commitment to growth. In your own words, starting with you, Bob, how would you define passion? And then I'll let you ask our other callers today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate the time. And I'm really glad that this group decided to be on the call with us and talk about this. So passion to me is what makes you want to be more than what you were yesterday in the environment that you're in. So if you're working with a customer and solving their problems, it's not just showing up and doing the status quo, it's getting it to be a better answer every time. When you're talking to your employees and you're trying to figure out how to get their careers to grow and get bigger than what they aspired to before, it's better than is where passion comes from for me. And I also want to make it clear that the reason I'm aligned to this passion word here is because everything I do, I want to have the word passion around. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. If it's worth getting involved in, if it's worth having a job and a career around, it's worth having passion to do it. I never want to show up and punch a clock. I never want to show up and just be part of the cog in the wheel that has something else work. I want to drive something, and driving something means you got to be behind it with passion. So the word is an interesting word to have in a business environment. So I'm going to ask a couple of folks what it means to them and how they see it in their environment, because there's some passion for the mission of a customer. There's passion for business. There's passion for, helping other people with their careers. It's different for every individual as to how it gets into their world. Each of these people I've met in the past, I know that they have passion. They bring it every day to what they do, but I'd like to understand what how they work in this environment and how they bring it to their jobs. So Simone, if you don't mind, I'll start with you and I'll ask, I've seen you in front of customers, you exude passion, but I want to know why and how and what it means to you.
Sure. So it's funny, as I was preparing for this podcast today, I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if we were on the integrity podcast instead? Because that's a very easy word to define and is very much a binary black and white type of idea, right? And so when I was thinking about passion, the number one thing that really came to my mind is authenticity, right? You can't really manufacture passion, right? And so when you're talking to people or you're working with your customers, you're working with your internal customers, people can feel genuine and they can sense when things are not genuine. And so in that regard, passion is something that really is a feeling that propels you to do something else. And it could be positive, it could be negative. I also don't want to forget that you can be passionate against something as well. So I really try and think about passion as a driving force behind the activity that I do, whether it's at work, at home, anywhere.
Yeah, that's definitely a common thought for me as well. Steve, what do you want to add to that? How do you see it?
No, I agree, Simone. Passion is one of those ones that are hard to define because it's really, passion is not an emotion, but it's something that can evoke an emotion, right? So as I apply it to our business, I think that passion is a deep belief that what you're doing really matters to our customers and to our nation. And that deep-seated belief can result in emotion. You can bring that to work every day. And to me, that's passion.
Yeah, that's great. So Cameron, I'll ask, the same question, but maybe a little twist you can add into it. And that is, how you see it personally, but also how do you try to get it out of your team? And how do you get them to get, more into the cause, whatever it is that you're trying to get, and elicit passion from them?
Absolutely. So, Bob, when I think about passion, I really think it's excitement and enthusiasm that you're bringing to the workday. And I personally bring that out of my team members and teammates by adopting diversity of thought, making sure that people that are bringing their ideas to the table, they feel encouraged, they feel that they have the capabilities to bring that to the table in discussions with our customers, and also understanding what people are passionate about outside of work that will drive their performance at work.
So the diversity of thoughts are a really en vogue thing to say these days, but I will say that it matches up perfectly with the word passion, right? Because the more you allow somebody to bring their thoughts into something, chances are they're going to have passion around what they believe and how they see the situation and how they can work on something. If you tell them what the answer is, you got to get to a conformist way of doing things. It's really hard to get them to be passionate around somebody else's idea, but letting them own it, you can identify the passion pretty quick because it's their idea and they exude it.
Absolutely.
So Jim, same question. You got a big team. How do you get them to espouse this and to work it into their everyday?
Yeah, and I liked what you said, Bob. I mean, I always think of passion as energetic excitement, for the work that you're doing, and everybody that knows me will understand that comment. One of the things that you said that I think is interesting is this tie to kind of empathy and listening, like Cameron said, this idea that you can bring your own excitement to the work that you're doing, but to be able to listen to others, to hear what they're excited about and draw into that excitement, that to me is what really brings the team together. Because passion for me is, like you said, Bob, going above and beyond and doing something as a group that is beyond the capabilities of the individual. And when you start to do that and you build that, I always tie passion and compassion together, where, listening to folks, understanding where they're coming from and where they're at, understanding what their desires and needs are, and being able to draw that out from the team and value it and show it that it's important to you. And also in the listening aspect, bringing it into your day-to-day operations. Like you said, they're able to own the solution. They're able to get excited about it. And that passion is infectious. And that's one of the greatest things about it is, if you listen and get excited about someone else's idea, that is reciprocated. And that can draw a whole different ballgame when you start to play with the entire team that gets excited around a mission, an objective, or a customer.
That's great. Thanks. So I'll show you passion around one thing. I think podcasts should be short and sweet and make it so that people want to come back for another one. So I want to get to a personal side of things. But we want to do it reasonably quick so that way we can, again, make these nice and pithy and people want to do the future ones. But I'd love to know what drives you from a passion perspective personally as well. Make this a little bit more personal around you, and I'll start with myself. So I've got a third grade daughter, and it is aligned with this. I want her to have passion. And I'm not just using up the word, right? I want her to get really involved in things and care about things and not just show up to school and not show up to soccer and do those things because we told her to. I want her to find something she really loves to do. And that way I can support it, as opposed to me pushing a whole bunch of stuff on her and then eventually she figures it out. So it really does tie into this passion thing, and it's not just a made up thing. So I spend a lot of time outside of work with that. And I love doing lots of things with my family and my daughter, but trying to get her to find those things that she has passion around is truly something that I enjoy. Steve, you want to go? What brings you passion in your personal life?
Boy, I'm passionate about a lot of things outside of work, but the one thing that's probably most relevant here is vegetable gardening. I've got this passion for the way I would describe it is turning nothing into something. And you take this with vegetable garden, you take this little seed, you plant it in the ground, you take care of it, you nurture it, and it turns into this big, beautiful plant that provides you a lot of vegetables. And I can relate that to our business as well. A lot of our biggest programs started with just the tiniest of ideas, and they've turned into these big, beautiful programs. And there's a lot of parallels between the two in my mind, anyway.
That's a great metaphor. I love it. I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but it's perfectly fitting for the way you talk about careers, the way you talk about how businesses run. It's really a great alignment to the passion word. Cameron, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Sure. So I'm really passionate about travel. and adopting a global worldview so that I can interact with people from anywhere about any topic. I actually, I set a goal for myself to hit all 7 continents, and I did that last year. And I think bringing what I'm passionate about outside of work into work makes it easy for me to be able to adopt a mindset of mentorship and ensuring that teams can come from anywhere and we can interact with any customer.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I've got similar passions, and I think I've hit 50 countries, and I haven't hit that last continent though. It's going to be kind of tough. So I wish you luck on that. Simone, how about you?
Sure. So I wish mine was as perfectly analogous, but I would say that my passion really is my friends and family. They are 100% who made me who I am. Connecting with them is never time wasted. And I think everyone can make the joke about a young millennial being in group chats and always on the cell phone and phone calls and Instagram, but those are precious small connections. And we're so blessed to be in a time where we have 1,000 avenues to stay in touch with one another.
That's great. And Jim, how about you?
Yeah, I have to agree with Simone. Family is very, very much, so my passion. And I think throughout my life, one of the biggest things it taught me was being able to focus on someone else's success and being excited and interested in making sure that they succeed, and doing everything you can to help them. And that really translated very easily into the business world, where you have, your teams that easily become your families, and very, very quickly you learn that you're spending a lot of time with them and you want them to succeed as well. And like I said, my daughter is keeping an eye on me all the time and keeping me straight in that regard.
Well, with that personality, I know why your team really likes to work with you. So Amy, we can close it up, and back over to you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for listening to Talking Our Values. I hope you found the discussion thought-provoking and have some ideas for how you can incorporate SAIC's values into your everyday. Make sure to check out the value site on Isaac and stay tuned for the next episode of Talking Our Values.